Hello there.
And welcome to Ghastly Reviews. I'm Ghastly, family-friendly Minecraft YouTuber turned movie critic because...
life.
Nah, but in all seriousness, talking movies is one of my favorite hobbies. So today I'm going to be ranking every new theatrical released movie I saw in 2024 from the worst to the best. I'll be giving a brief review of each of the 13 movies, so this video isn't extremely long. In dead and very deserved last place is the Garfield movie. I honestly don't know how you managed to screw up a movie about a talking cat eating too much and making dumb puns, but this movie managed to do it. The plot is about Garfield going on a heist mission for some evil cat lady to solve some family drama with his dad. I don't know what I was expecting out of a Garfield movie, but it certainly wasn't his daddy issues. And God help us all, he's being voiced by Chris Pratt. Like, he isn't even trying anymore. Garfield is just lazy Chris Pratt in this movie. I don't even know who this movie was for. It's too fast-paced and brain-rotten hands to be for adults, but its plot is too confusing and full of very specific pop culture references for me to believe it's for kids. Tom Cruise, Amazon, and so much other crap is pulled out of this movie for the sake of being trendy.
Yeah, in case you were wondering, I do my own stunts. Me and Tom Cruise.
Friends, I am locked in the cringe position.
Even then, I've seen Christopher Nolan movies with less confusing plots. Let that sink in and never watch this movie unless you need an ego boost for creativity in this world. In 12th place is Kraven the Hunter, and yes, I saw this movie willingly. Big surprise, this movie sucks as it's part of the Sony Spider-Man-less universe. On the bright side, this movie is laughably bad. The explanation for 90% of the plot is Kraven saying, quote, "because I'm a hunter," because they literally don't show any of the plot on screen. They show bits and pieces and leave exposition to fill in the gaps. Rhino is comedy gold in this. When he's not looking straight out of Green Lantern, he's mimicking Kraven with animal movements and moaning uncontrollably.
All of our guys are dead.
Then he gets defeated because he left his hole exposed. I beg you all to gather some friends and laugh at this movie. Trust me, it'll be a good time. Ignoring my personal entertainment though, this movie needs to be studied for who stole the $110 million that was put into it. Not even Aaron Taylor Johnson seems to care that he worked on this.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of Kraven iconic moments from the comic book. Taking the element of this character that you would see in his habitat and taking that guy and then sticking in an urban environment like the city, like London.
I've seen episodes of Blue's Clues with a stronger plot, so don't waste your time unless you're with your friends. In 11th place is Trap. For those of you who don't know, Trap is made by famous director M. Night Shyamalan. It's described as a thriller, but it's absolutely not. I've seen funerals more thrilling than this. Spoilers for the movie, but you shouldn't care anyways. The movie follows a killer taking his daughter to a concert when it turns out the concert is a trap for said killer. Then Mr. Killer has to escape, but gets extremely lucky a few dozen times. In the end, he manages to escape the concert, but then he's caught because the lead singer live-streamed to her Insta followers. Then he's tased by 3 cops and has 0 kills by the end of the flick. So what in tarnation was even the point? You wanna know? This movie is actually an ad for Shyamalan's daughter's music career. What's even crazier is her music was mid as heck, and even when she turns into the main character towards the end, she couldn't act for her life. No disrespect and all, but just make a movie concert, because that's basically what this movie was. A decent concert experience, but beyond that, it sucks. In 10th place is the movie starring the guy who pees in bottles, the guy who needs a new agent, and the guy who spends 90% of this movie in a coma. This is Red 1, the next generic schlockbuster action movie with a Christmas skin on it. This movie stars The Rock as a Santa bodyguard and Chris Evans as a random hacker who have to work together to save Santa from being kidnapped. This movie's extremely wacky. The Rock slapboxes Krampus. Oh, wow! Krampus's ex is a demon lady. Chris Evans' character has childhood trauma. All normal stuff you'd expect to see out of a Christmas movie for families. I wouldn't even call this bad, it's just formulaic, and the climax made me feel nothing because it makes absolutely no sense. Please don't ask me to elaborate on that because I do value my sanity. In 9th place is Beetlejuice. For the record, I actually like this movie. I think it's way better than the original, and we get more Beetlejuice screen time. Michael Keaton is having a blast, the effects are great, everyone in the cast gets something to do. Oh, Oh wait, that last one's the problem. There are way too many plot lines in this movie because there are way too many characters. Try to highlight old characters for nostalgia and introduce new ones for the young folks, and you're just left with a mess. So many conflicts abruptly end so we could get to the next plot that it's actually jarring. I got a few laughs out of this, but that can't carry half a dozen plots and twice as many undeveloped characters. Give it a watch if you're a Beetlejuice fan, but others can skip it. In 8th place is The Fall Guy. I think this movie is a bit overrated. It follows Ryan Gosling as a stuntman caught up in the kidnapping of the star of his own movie. I can sum up this movie in one word: forgettable. I remember enjoying some of the better placed jokes and action sequences with Hollywood pop culture references, as this movie is celebrating films and stunts as a whole, but the plot and characters just didn't connect with me. The romance that carries the entire plot is one-sided most of the time, so it's hard to care beyond the action. This movie is good to throw on in the background while you do something else. Stop to watch the action, back to work during the lackluster exposition. Maybe stop again to glance at the plot twist if you didn't predict it already. In 7th place is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Unlike The Fall Guy, I think this movie is actually a bit overhated. Like Beetlejuice 2, this movie suffers from having too many plot lines. However, where this movie does it right is the humor, references, and overall fun. Paul Rudd hard carries a good portion of this movie. His jokes are fantastic, and his role as more of a father figure of the group is a great arc for him. To counter that greatness is Phoebe Spangler, who spends way too much time in this movie befriending a ghost, which is extremely odd considering we haven't met a talking friendly ghost in Ghostbusters history. Instead of questioning the morality of busting ghosts with this new info, the writers decide they will play chess together and then, spoilers, sacrifice the ghost after less than an hour of screen time. I just feel nothing for that. Also, characters from the last movie just show up here for no reason. Like, Podcast is just allowed here because I guess his parents gave consent off screen? Lucky is also here because she suddenly has a job with the Ghostbusters tech crew now. Too much is just thrown in to make the movie with everyone, so despite how entertaining this may be, I can't put it any higher on my ranking. In 6th place is Piece by Piece. This is a documentary about Pharrell Williams, the Despicable Me happy guy, but told through Lego. I have to admit I was extremely impressed by this. The animation is stunning and the story is interesting and inspirational. It gave me a lot of new songs for my playlist, and seeing other artists' cameos was great. It's nothing like the old Lego movie, but if you go in with a fresh mindset, you'll have a good time. My only two complaints are, first, that the movie focused too much on his early life. As soon as he hits fame, they start to wrap things up. I want to see more into his career making songs in Hollywood, as I'm sure many other casual fans would too. Secondly, this really didn't have to be told with Lego. Like, I wouldn't have watched it otherwise because I'm not even a Minions fan, but they spend a good chunk of this movie trying to justify using Lego, and they didn't persuade me by the end. Definitely worth a watch for Lego and Pharrell fans, though. In 5th place is going to be Wicked. This movie is fire. The songs are a bop, the sets and choreography are stunning, and the actors and actresses are giving it their all. This movie is part 1, but it still peaked with a great climax towards the end. I'm not even a musical guy, but I would recommend this. It is something for everyone. Even as a casual Wizard of Oz fan, I caught onto a few extra references that felt rewarding, but never too forced. This movie could have been cut down a bit, and who the actual heck casted Jeff Goldblum as the wizard, but other than that, this movie is fantastic. It's just tough competition at the top, and it comes down to my personal preference. In 4th place is Deadpool and Wolverine. I won't spoil anything in case anyone minds. This movie is a joy, and by far the most entertaining on this list. Unfortunately, you can't think about the plot for more than a second without it falling apart. The anchor being concept was such BS, bad stuff, that if it weren't for the cameos and fan service that follows, this movie would be towards the bottom of this list. Mr. Paradox's plan makes no sense and relies on the higher-ups praising him for pruning timelines, which he admits is a policy they don't even abide by anymore. I have a crazy love-hate relationship with this movie, so if this video gets 100 likes, I'll do a full breakdown, but for now, this movie takes 4th place. In the 3rd place is Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 does a great job of building off the last movie. Making Riley a teen is both nostalgically awkward for parents while being currently relatable for teens. I was happy to see anxiety so accurately put to screen, as well as envy, embarrassment, and most importantly for the brain rot kids, boredom. This movie didn't hit as emotionally hard as the first for me, but pairing joy with the other 3 core emotions minus sadness was a really cool combo and also more entertaining. I hope this becomes a trilogy because it could honestly be one of the best of all time. Unfortunately, I like the top 2 movies on this list a bit more. In second place is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This movie is easily the best of the trilogy for me. It's a lot more mature, thematically deep, and funnier. I know it's been said a million times, but Jim Carrey is spectacular as both Robotniks. He brings great energy on the screen alongside the other hedgehog-related creatures who each get moments to shine. Keanu Reeves brings a much-needed down-to-earth vibe to Shadow, who is easily my favorite villain of these movies. The action goes above and beyond, the writing tying Sonic to Shadow goes above and beyond, and so does the fun factor. It's not perfect, heck, none of these films are, but even as someone who's not a Sonic fanboy, I can respect when a movie does something this well. Keep in mind I might have a bit of recency bias to put it this high. But in first place is The Wild Robot. Movies don't make me cry often, but this one did. Multiple times. The cast is stacked from Pedro Pascal to Mark Hamill and more. The animation is a work of art, and the script takes its time to build up all the characters / animals in the forest so it can bring them all together in one of the best climaxes I've seen put to screen. Roz the robot is at the heart of it all. Her story raising Bright Bill the Duck is half heartbreaking, half triumphant, and it just all fits the tone perfectly. I recommend this movie for anyone. Kids, adults, and definitely parents. This is one of my favorite DreamWorks movies and easily my best of the year. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that sub button and tell me what you liked or didn't like about this video in the comments. This is my first video editing on a laptop and my first movie review in years, so let me know how I did. I plan on analyzing one movie / TV show per video in the future, so I should be able to thoroughly lay out my thoughts with extra jokes and roasts. Thanks for watching, and goodbye!